There is a very specific kind of exhaustion that comes right after you say the word yes. You hear the sound leaving your own mouth, and almost instantly, your stomach drops. You didn't want to say it. You had promised yourself you wouldn't. But the moment there was a pause in the conversation, the moment you felt the slight pressure of someone else's expectation, your programming took over. You smile, nod, and volunteer your time, watching yourself do it like a passenger in your own body. And then comes the quiet resentment, not just at them for asking, but at yourself for folding. Again. If this sounds familiar, you are not just tired. You are caught in something we often call the nice person trap. And I want to talk about it today because for a long time, this trap was the only way I knew how to live. We are taught from a very young age that being agreeable is the highest form of virtue. Be good, be helpful, be low maintenance, don't cause a scene. But there is a massive, silent difference between being genuinely kind and being chronically accommodating. Kindness is a choice made from a place of emotional security. People-pleasing is a reflex driven by fear. When you are stuck in this pattern, you aren't actually being nice. You are managing anxiety. You are trying to control how other people perceive you so they won't leave you, criticize you, or realize how inadequate you secretly feel. It is exhausting because you are constantly scanning the room, trying to read minds, anticipating needs before they are even spoken. You become a chameleon, shifting your personality and boundaries to fit whoever is standing in front of you. I remember the exact weekend I realized my niceness was actually destroying me. A friend asked if I could help them move. It was short notice, and I already had a week of severe burnout behind me. My body was screaming for a day of absolute silence. But they asked, and the familiar panic set in. The fear of being seen as a bad friend. So of course I said it was no problem at all. I spent my entire Friday night and Saturday morning hauling heavy boxes, cleaning a dusty apartment, running on empty, trying to be the ultimate dependable guy. I dragged myself home, every muscle aching, completely depleted. The next morning I woke up late and opened Instagram. The first thing I saw was a story from that same friend. They were out at a crowded Sunday brunch, laughing, holding mimosas, looking completely energized. And there I was, lying in the dark, too exhausted to even get out of bed. My first instinct was to be angry at them. How could they go out having fun when I was suffering? But the uncomfortable truth, the one that really stung, was that they hadn't done anything wrong. They asked a question. I gave an answer. They assumed I was an adult capable of managing my own limits. I was the one who abandoned myself. I was the one who offered up my well-being as a sacrifice, secretly hoping they would notice and reward me for it. That is the dark side of being the nice guy. We overgive, not out of pure generosity, but as a covert contract. We think, if I make myself incredibly useful to you, then you owe me loyalty. You won't abandon me. But the world doesn't work that way. When you make yourself a utility, people will treat you like a utility. You become a convenient appliance in their life. You cannot be mad at people for walking through a door that you are holding wide open for them. This pattern of shrinking and over-accommodating doesn't just show up in how we give our time. It shows up in how we receive validation. Think about what happens when someone gives you a genuine compliment. Let's say someone looks at your work and says you did an incredible job and that you are really talented. What is your immediate reflex? If you are like I was, you probably physically recoil. You immediately wave your hands and say it was nothing, or that anyone could do it. Why do we do that? Why do we fight so hard to reject the exact validation we are secretly starving for? It comes down to imposter syndrome and a deeply ingrained belief about our own self-worth. If I accept your compliment, if I say that yes, I am good at this, I am suddenly visible. I have set a standard. And to the chronically anxious mind, visibility feels like a threat. If I admit I am valuable, you might expect more from me. You might look closer and realize I am actually a fraud. So I shrink. I play small. I deflect the praise so I can stay safely hidden in the background, where no one can judge me and no one can be disappointed by me. We see this same shrinking in the smallest, most everyday interactions. You see it when you send a frantic, 3-paragraph apology text because it took you an hour to reply to a casual message. You apologize as if you owe everyone in your life constant, uninterrupted access to your energy. You assume that any slight delay is going to be the final straw that makes them realize you aren't worth keeping around. If you are recognizing yourself in any of this, I want you to pause for a second. Take a breath. I know that looking at these behaviors can bring up a lot of inner shame. You might feel weak or easily manipulated or pathetic for caring so much about what everyone else thinks. But I need you to understand something crucial. You are not weak. You are incredibly observant. This hypervigilance, this obsessive need to keep the peace and keep everyone happy, is a survival strategy. Somewhere in your past, usually early on, you learned that love was conditional. You learned that your environment was emotionally unpredictable. So, you became an expert at reading the weather. You learned to read the slight shifts in your parents' tone of voice. You learned to make yourself small so you wouldn't be a burden. You traded your authenticity for attachment, because when you are young, attachment is survival. But it is an adaptation that has outlived its usefulness. The armor you built to protect yourself as a child is now the exact cage keeping you trapped as an adult. So, how do we dismantle the cage? It doesn't happen with grand, dramatic declarations. You don't have to suddenly become a cold, unfeeling person who never helps anyone. You break the habit of people-pleasing in the tiny, quiet moments of friction. It starts with learning how to tolerate the discomfort of disappointing someone just a little bit. Next time someone asks for a favor that makes your stomach drop, you don't have to give a harsh rejection. You can set a firm boundary without being aggressive. You use a short sentence, and if possible, offer an alternative. You say, I can't commit to helping you move this weekend, but I can drop off some boxes for you on Thursday. Or, I don't have the capacity to take on this project right now, but I can look at it next month. Notice what is missing from those sentences. There is no over-explaining. There is no desperate apology. You are simply stating a fact about your capacity. When the guilt inevitably spikes, and it will, you let it sit there. You do not rush to fix it. You remind yourself that their temporary disappointment is better than your lasting resentment. You remind yourself that if a relationship shatters simply because you said no one time, it wasn't a relationship. It was a hostage situation. We apply this same quiet courage to how we receive. When someone offers you a compliment, your assignment is to stop the reflex to deflect. You don't have to agree with them enthusiastically if you aren't ready for that. But you have to let the words land. When they say you did great, you hold their eye contact, you take a breath, and you simply say, thank you. I am really glad you liked it. That is it. You don't add a but. You don't shrink. You just let the warmth exist in the space between you. At first, it will feel like wearing a shirt that is entirely too bright. It will feel exposed and wrong. Let it feel wrong. Do it anyway. Because every time you simply say, thank you, you are slowly rewiring your brain. You are telling your nervous system that it is safe to be seen, safe to be valued, and safe to take up space. Healing from the nice guy trap is not about becoming selfish. It is about becoming real. It is about realizing that true connection is impossible as long as you are wearing a mask of constant accommodation. People cannot love you if they do not actually know you. And they cannot know you if you are hiding your true limits, your true exhaustion, and your true brilliance behind a wall of people-pleasing. It is terrifying to drop the act. You will likely lose some people along the way. You will lose the people who only loved you for how useful you were. Let them go. The space they leave behind is where actual, reciprocal love can finally enter. You have spent your entire life trying to be good enough for everyone else. It is time to step out of the exhaustion. It is time to let yourself be real. It is time to finally, quietly, be good enough for you.